Yeah, I can't do it.
I gotta find the place first. What is he doing?
He's at a wedding tasting or something.
All right. So we're doing Shara Tshuva Perek. Hey, we started yesterday. Okay, we'll start Perek Hamishi again. Fine. Perek Hamishi. We're learning Tshuva. Tshuva. Tonight, Gidra Tshuva Rabbi again on the bottom. Aprotim Shalikre Tshuva Im Rabbi Moed. There are many aspects of Tshuva. I won't be able to list them all off. But I'll mention 20 pratim. Before he had said there were 4 major aspects of Tshuva. He says in each 4 of those 4, he's going to give us 5 subcategories, which adds up to 25. What? That by doing those, the Ikra Tshuva will be complete. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is Charot. This is the 5 aspects of Charot. Charot is only number 1/4 of the Tshuva process. And there are 5 aspects. A lot of this, or maybe all of this, is also in the Shari Tshuva in the first Shar, where he discusses 20 aspects of Tshuva and how about Tshuva acts. So number 1, in Charota, in regret, you have number 1. Charota has different types of Charota, different types of levels, different aspects of regret. The first thing is, I regret because I'm afraid of the punishment. HaKadosh Baruch Hu may punish me soon, B'Korah says. On the various I did, through that thought, it's an added injection for Charota, to make more Charota. Tanu Hashem lekechem kovod b'terem yachshik. Before Hashem makes it dark, right? Give Hashem kovod. And before you stumble, your feet stumble when you go into the gulls in the dark mountains. So that's one aspect of Charota. One aspect of Charota is I regret what I did because I realized that there's punishment. It was a silly thing to do. I have to pay the bill now. I have to pay up. A second aspect of Charota is that I'm broken. I'm humbled in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. My Charota is an expression of my Charota because of the Averis I did. Because of the Averis, I'm really sorry. I guess that's the, as it says in Divrei Yom Koshnema V'Ikonu Ami Yachaniku Shmi Aleihem. That my nation was humbled. My nation, that my name is called upon them. You change your clothing, you change your ornaments. In other words, it's also, I guess this is like an external expression of my charata, and my humbleness is that I don't dress for the occasion, so to speak. I dress more simple. And there's other signs. You see my charata in how I speak, how I eat, my actions. Also, it's on this Hebrew sakim, gird yourself with sackcloth, tiftu, vehelilu, v'nemar, ve'iskatu sakim ha'odam ba'behim. It says in Yoina when they did tshuva, that they even put sackcloth on the animals. Tefillah, out of as an extension of my regret, so I scream out and I daven to Hashem. I'm like a mourner. David says, my eyes poured rain, just gushed with, not rain, just gushed with water, with tears, because we didn't keep the Torah. V'nemar, pasuk in Yoel, bein ha'ulam v'lamizbeach yivko ha'kohanim shorasei Hashem. Again, and in the Beis Hamikdash, this is the Kohanim cried. So you see that crying is an expression of that charata, part of charata. You have to rebuke yourself. You, so to speak, take yourself to task. Actually, Mila as Chovos of Klapi, our bodies they didn't fulfill your obligations towards Hashem. Care your hearts rather than your clothing. It should be your charata should be an internal, more of an internal thing. Let's see what Rav Matisyahu says on some of this. Hold on. So he says over here, after, when a person realizes that he sinned, if it's because it was a mistake, of Yitzray or Yitzhar overcame him, take him and start believing Masha also. So, in other words, it's a common thing and a correct thing. And after you did Avera, now you're overcome with regret. Beforehand, it was a mistake. Yitzhara was fighting a battle and winning. But once it's done, the Yitzhara left. You're filled with charata. I wish I never did this Avera. Many times after you do an Avera, we look back and we say, how could I have done that? That was so silly, foolish thing to do. And in his innermost place, he feels true anguish that he made Avera, he did Avera. Like in other words, like he says, I can't forgive myself for doing that. How could I have done that? So he says, and there's 5 reasons. Right, so the first thing we said is, how could I think that the Shara Chuvas lost. I've never been so cruel on my nefesh to know and do this when I know that there's punishment waiting. And you think to yourself, why did I not think of this while I was doing that Avera? Why didn't I remember that there's an einish? I would have realized not kedai to do that Avera. The second thing he says, which we said was being submissive in front of Hashem, is that you're broken, your heart's broken. How did I go against the Ritzayin Hashem? Right. So again, he keeps on coming back to this. The first part of the charata that we mentioned is because of a shamlu. Shamlu means I did something to myself. I made myself desolate. Second part is bogadni. is that, but how also did I rebel against Hashem? So my charata now is that I'm being machnia myself to Hashem. Third thing is, he says the first two aspects, they were in the heart, they're internal. This is another aspect of charata, and it's an external. That it should be clear to everybody that I have anguish, and I'm sorry about what I did. Everybody sees that I'm now like a mourner. I'm dressing like a mourner. Right? I don't care about my clothing. It became not important to me. I'm so full of remorse. Fourth thing he explains, it's also an external expression of my tshuva, my charata, is that I'm crying and davening. And the fifth thing is, when the pasuk says, "Kiru levavchem," tear your hearts. How do you tear your hearts? By giving rebuke to yourself and saying, "How did I do such a silly thing for a short-lived pleasure? How did I do it?" Okay, so that's charata. Let's just do Aziva Sachet. Aziva Sachet Gam Chamisha. There's also 5 aspects of Aziva Sachet, of leaving, of not doing the sin anymore. Echad Mehem, number 1, Azivas Komashe Hizya Abayra Mimem. To be careful, not to transgress anymore anything Hashem told me not to do. Hate evil, and love good. Watches himself from doing wrong. The Rosh will leave his ways. So that's number 1. Number 1 is the simple concept of Aziva Sachet. I stopped doing what Hashem told me is wrong. Hasheni Azivas Hamuta maybe the is. It's also not just stopping to do what's black and white wrong, but even things that are mutter, but it could bring you teeth. You have things that it's doubtful. Is it mutter? Is it also? They say about some of the Chassidim Sheparshim Mishivim Sha'orim Mishari Hamuta. Miyirasam Shar Echad Mishari Ha'isa. K'mas Yogim Shetziva Aleim Rabbi Seitzah Perlim Vracha. So Siag Torah, when you make a fence to stay away from the Avera, that's an aspect of Aziva Sachet also. Okay, I think we're going to make this a short day. We'll stop here by Shlishi. This Hashem will continue tomorrow some more. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. I'm a bit tired. Hatzlacha Rabbah.